P6 for Max Verstappen. Yeah, read that again. P6. For a man who turns pole laps into routine, that number feels wrong. But before we start blaming balance, tires, or bad luck, Helmut Marko dropped a sentence that changes the entire story. Because this wasn't a bad drive. This was a setup mistake that locked Red Bull into a nightmare. When Max got out of the car, you could see it immediately. Frustration under control. He described the RB21 as having a lot of vibration and ride problems. The middle sector, he said, was impossible to trust. The car wouldn't turn properly and the rear grip kept disappearing at random. And the data backed him up. He was fastest of everyone through Sector 1, then bled away all the time in Sector 2. That's where the whole lap collapsed. One perfect launch, and then the car just refused to rotate where it mattered most. Interlagos punishes that. The middle sector is the soul of this circuit. 8 corners, constant direction changes, every mistake multiplied. And when your rear won't hold and your front won't bite, every lap feels like driving on glass. The setup that caused P6. Then came Marko's explanation, and suddenly everything made sense. It's basically no grip, which means we don't have enough downforce. And that's something we can't cure for the sprint. That's the quote. They ran too little downforce on Friday. And because qualifying set the car under Parc Fermé, they were locked into that setup for the sprint. No chance to change the wings, no time to rebuild the suspension, no opportunity to add the grip they'd thrown away. In simple terms, they tuned the car for speed on the straights, and it murdered them in the corners. That's why Max looked like he was driving 2 different cars, fastest on the power, helpless through the twist. Sector 1 rewarded the gamble. Sector 2 destroyed it. Let's talk about why that's fatal at this track. Sector 2 at Interlagos is not just another part of the lap. It is the lap. It holds 8 of the circuit's 12 corners. It covers almost half the total time, and every one of those corners demands mechanical grip and precision. From turn 5 flat at 240 kph to turn 10 crawling under 80, you never get a straight line. You're loaded laterally, steering and braking at the same time, asking the tires to do everything at once. One lockup and a tight right-hander and you're offline for the next 3. Lose the rhythm and your lap's dead. Now here's the key stat. Reducing downforce to gain straight line speed costs roughly 4/10 in this sector alone. 4/10 gone every lap. That's exactly what happened. Red Bull chased top speed bragging rights in Sector 1, but Sector 2 ripped them apart. Max's view from the cockpit. From inside the car, Verstappen felt every mistake the setup made. He described vibration, ride problems, and no rear grip. The car wouldn't turn properly, it bounced through the curves instead of flowing.
Quite poor, I would say. That's what it is. Yeah.
Imagine trying to hit every apex while the chassis argues with you. That's what he meant when he said he couldn't rely on the rear. Even when he went to the soft tire for the final run, the pattern repeated, fastest in the opening sector, then nothing. The softs helped in traction zones, but exposed how little load the car carried mid-corner. He lost the rhythm, lost the lap, and lost any shot at the front row. Reporters asked if rain could help him in the sprint. Usually that's Max's territory. Chaos, water, instinct. But his answer was brutally honest. He didn't expect to be miles better in the wet. That tells you how fundamental the problem is. This isn't tire temperature or weather balance. This is pure physics. Not enough downforce pressing the tires into the road. Rain doesn't fix that. It exaggerates it. When you're already skating, adding water just widens the slide. So for once, even Max isn't relying on the weather gods. He knows exactly what's wrong, and he knows it can't be fixed until Parc Fermé opens again. The team-wide struggle. It wasn't just him. Yuki Tsunoda crashed in practice, then qualified 18th. That's proof the setup window missed for both cars. Red Bull's engineers misread Friday, and now both drivers are paying for it. What hurts more is that this comes right when Max can least afford a slow weekend. He's 36 points behind in the championship, chasing two McLarens that don't seem to make setup mistakes anymore. Every race, every point, every sprint matters. And instead of fighting for the pole, he's fighting the car. And that's why Marko's quote matters so much, because it kills all the wild theories. This isn't fatigue. This isn't driver form. This isn't Red Bull losing its edge. It's one wrong decision on Friday that they can't undo until Saturday night. Too little downforce meant too little grip, and Parc Fermé meant no escape. That single call transformed a potential pole into P6. And now Max has to race a car that wasn't built for the corners that decide this circuit. That's why he called it difficult, why he sounded detached rather than angry. Because he knows the fix isn't driving style, it's setup. He'll push, he'll adapt, he'll take what he can, but the fight starts again only once the garage can touch the car. The battle ahead. So yes, P6 looks bad, but it's not a sign of weakness. It's a reminder of how thin the margin for error is when you're fighting for a championship. Red Bull got the downforce wrong. Interlagos punished them. And because Parc Fermé froze that mistake, they have to live with it for the sprint. What comes next is pure Verstappen psychology. He won't rage, he'll process, adapt, and wait for the next window to strike. Because in a title fight this close, it's not the bad sessions that define you. It's how fast you turn them into lessons. So, the big question now, can Red Bull reset the setup in time for Sunday, or does this weekend mark the moment the championship momentum finally shifts away from Max? Drop your take below, because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that when Verstappen's cornered, the next 24 hours are never boring.
To be miles better in the wet, but we'll see you tomorrow.